it up to speed. We got a semi, right? Oh, oh, oh. What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? Hey, what's up, guys? We're on 12.5.6.3. You're coming along for the first drive with me. I've never driven this before. Just got it. 12.5.6.3. We've got highway profile set to standard, max offset set to 40%. All right, here's what you're going to see today. We've got right away the unprotected left. Actually had a critical engagement the other day with this unprotected left. Almost got T-boned. Then we're going to hit a railroad crossing. We will go on the highway, entrance and exit. We do have end-to-end now on the highway with this version. And then lastly, stick with me, we're going to do the Impossible Hospital. Let's see if we've made any progress. Here we go. Yeah, so right off the bat, I'm going to give it a little bit to give it permission to go. So yeah, the other day, I was not on 12.5.6.3. Previous version, coming up to this unprotected left, almost got T-boned. I had a car coming from the left, and there was another car behind it, and the first car was going to turn right, so it was going to turn right. FSD thought it was safe to go. The car behind it was coming around the left side of the turning car pretty fast, and we were about to just gun it right into their path, and it would have been a T-bone, guaranteed T-bone. Had to disengage. Yeah, you know, it makes you wonder about what it is that we're trying to accomplish with this. We're really building FSD for a world where we're interacting with humans. I mean, if that other vehicle was another FSD vehicle, I have no doubt that would not have been a dangerous situation. But because I don't trust that that second driver would have stopped because he was human, you know, I'm glad I was supervising in the situation to be able to intervene. Didn't get it on camera, unfortunately. I wasn't recording. And that's been the first time in a long time that I've had a critical disengagement on FSD. I actually can't remember a safety reason that I've had to disengage for a long time, months and months and months. I'm convinced that would have been a T-bone. Obviously, I intervened, so we'll never know. There could have been some swerving and things happening at the end, but man, I don't know. All right, so we've got this pedestrian crosswalk here. Nobody edit, so no problems today. We're going to come up to this railroad crossing, which has, of course, as this guy goes over the yellow line, another beautiful human driver, probably on their cell phone. Yeah, so we are going to come up to this railroad crossing, which has given me a lot of trouble in the past. Never knows where to stop. Stops too soon. Has run red lights in the past. This was a while ago. It hasn't run red lights in a number of versions, but you'll see what I mean here. We've got a red light, red arrow up front, so we should stop before the railroad tracks right here, which it does perfectly. And then once this van starts going on green, then we should proceed over the railroad tracks and proceed on green. So yeah, excited to see some of the developments. I know we're on end-to-end now. We do have a green light now. So far, so good. I was talking and kind of giving a story in that unprotected left. We didn't have any problems back there. It took it a little slower than previous versions had, maybe a little more cautious. There was one car that was coming and we waited for it, which I was surprised about. That's a great unprotected left too, because it's hills on both sides. So you just have cars pop out at the last second that create a problem. So with this version, I think we've been promised better, smoother lane changes. Obviously end-to-end on the highway, that's what we're excited to check out today. And they supposedly fixed some of the speed offset issues. And like I mentioned, we do have max offset set to 40%. Kind of an overcast day today, not super sunny. As we come up to this red light, I will notice that's a better stop at the red light. You know, previous versions had stopped or slowed down a lot sooner and then kind of creeped up. That was a much more natural stop at the red light. maybe a little advancement there. And by the way, if you're wondering, yes, during that critical engagement on the unprotected left, I did send that to Tesla. Hopefully they can use that. I don't think the issue was that it didn't see the car behind the first car. I think it assumed both cars were going to be turning right. And the car behind just started gunning it to go around. And it was I knew the car was there, but you actually couldn't see it when we started going. It was just a perfect recipe for a T-bone. I mean, we were going to go right into the exact spot that this car was going to pop out behind. So far, really smooth drive. They've totally fixed these lane changes into turning lanes. You remember a few versions ago, we were bouncing back and forth. Totally fixed it. Beautifully entered that turn lane, as we can go right on red here. We've got vehicles turning left on their green arrow. And of course, they fixed the visualizations on the display. Smooth avatars now instead of the herky-jerky. Very nice smooth lane change into the center lane. So we're going to imagine like, we're heading to Walmart right here to pick something up. We're going to let it run its course through the parking lot of Walmart just to see how that does. A year from now, maybe I'm sitting in the back seat scrolling on my phone as my car takes me to Walmart. It'll drop me off at the front door of Walmart. Maybe I'll tell it to go park itself. GPY, go park yourself. And then, or maybe I'll have it run a few errands for me while I'm in Walmart. That was nice there. Nice lane change to the left. We had an obstruction, and it was very, very smoothly weighted for that car. Gave it the right of way. Could have gunned a little bit and gotten in front of it, but it was, that was very pleasant. We don't have to get aggressive. I don't have it on hurry mode. Maybe if I had it on hurry mode, it would have gunned and tried to get in front of that car. So we got yellow arrows here. We are going to go. Nice decision. Yeah, in versions past, it might have slammed on the brakes there. That was a great decision. All right, I'm going to let it head into, we got a yellow light here. I'm going to let it head it into this parking lot. I'm going to edit trip and remove Walmart so we can go to our next waypoint. And our next waypoint will take us on the highway. So let's see what it's going to do here. Yeah, actually it's going to just go straight and go in this roundabout and turn around, which is totally fine. So a little adjustment. I took the waypoint out a little bit early. That's fine. We'll go with it. I don't know why it has its left turn signal on now. Ah, okay. I didn't even know this lane ended. It must have known this lane ended. That was great. Signaled really early to get out of the lane. That's one issue that we have been having in past versions, is it waits too long to get out of the turning lane. That was great. Before I even knew that lane was ending, it got over. Roundabouts, totally solved. No problem. Nice big roundabout. As we got a truck coming here, it should yield for us. It does not. It goes in front of us. That's fine. Another vehicle should yield for us. It does. Didn't pull any G's on that roundabout. Nice and smooth. That's the way I would expect it to be if I were taking a nap in the back of my cyber cab on the way home from work. Unless I want to put it in hurry mode. It's goulash night. Hurry home. Love goulash. All right, so we're going to be going back to the intersection here, taking a right, and then getting onto the highway. Now we are end to end. As I've mentioned, there has been some construction on this highway, especially the off ramp at the end where we exit. So it'll be good. It'll be good to see how it handles it. Yeah, so far, I am noticing a degree of smoothness that has not existed in past versions. We've been getting pretty good in past versions, but this is very, very smooth. Just feels confident and smooth. Incredible. Now, I think that there are, all right, we got to get in the left lane here. Good. There's definitely some advancement here. I can tell. Version 13 is what I'm waiting on. That's I think going to be a whole different training model, and that's what I think they train the cybercabs on. Roll up or down to adjust max speed. Press left or right to adjust profile. Okay. So I can adjust the max speed on the highway now. Great. Good change. Much needed. So it's taking an appropriate 32 miles on this on-ramp. There's a rock in the road there. No clue if it saw it or not. Luckily, I didn't have to take over. I can't imagine that it's trained on seeing that rock on the road, but all right, here we go, end to end. You got to giddy up, get up to speed. We got a semi, right? Oh, oh, oh. What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? Now you got to go. Wow, okay, I let it go. That was kind of nerve-wracking. Still nerve-wracking. All right, that was fine. I think a human would have gunned it to get in front of this semi, and instead of gunning it to get in front of the semi, it kind of slowed down. It did fine, and then it gunned it to hit the gap. I wonder what it would have done if there was no gap. Would it have just pulled over onto the shoulder and stopped? So what do I give that? I mean, I don't have it on hurry. Am I to assume if I had it on hurry, it would have gunned it and got in front of that semi? I mean, it felt smooth. It felt confident. Not a problem. Arguably the safer move to let that semi get ahead and then shoot the gap that was available. That's a pass. That's a good job. Now it is going to get into this fast lane. We've got 1 mile to go on this highway, and I don't have it on hurry. It is going into the fast lane, and we're going to have to get all the way back over across 2 lanes with all these semis here within a mile. Now it's already putting its right signal on, so it kind of created this problem for itself. So it's gunning to get ahead of this semi. Now it's going to move over one, and it should move over another lane here. Good. So yeah, okay, fine. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it makes you wonder when it starts anticipating it's going to need to get over. If it only starts anticipating once it gets a half a mile away, it's going to make moves 0.6, 0.7 miles away that maybe a human wouldn't make. Beautiful exit. This is a construction zone. There's no way that this is in the maps. These roads are brand new. Now it's had problems with navigation here, not knowing to go right. Wow, perfect. Gets in the absolute perfect lane here. Coming in a little hot. No, okay. Maybe I'm being too hard. That was great. Wow, successful highway travel there, going a mile. Confident, went all the way to the fast lane, all the way back. We're going to have to do some more testing to see how it handles that fast lane on some longer drives. You know, in the past versions, it hangs out in the fast lane too long, and cars come up behind you and they get upset. So it needs to be more respectful. All right, this is turning right. Car on our left. Now it's going over to the left. We got a van coming. Nice smooth lane change. I want to keep going, so we're going to edit this stop out. See what it does. All right, now I kind of confused it because we don't want to be in this left lane anymore. I edited the waypoint, but it's going to take this left arrow, and then we'll see if it'll navigate itself back to where we want to go. All right, it's going to do the old roundabout turnaround. Now this is a little confusing because these are unmarked. This is kind of a left turn lane on the left there where that car went, although it's not marked. It cautiously found, not cautiously, confidently and slowly found the right lane. I mean, the limit's 25 here. There's no reason to be going 30. It's going 19 as it approaches the roundabout. No problems with that. Are we going to pull any G's on this roundabout? Nope. Nice and slow. Yeah, so getting back to what I was saying earlier, you know, it's interesting. We're solving the problem for, okay, as I interrupt myself, we do want to get in the left here because we're going to be going left. There are cars that realize that before me, and it kind of, yeah, that's not ideal. It doesn't, yeah, get in that lane. Now we've got a 3-way stop here. You got to go. You got to go. Go. I didn't push it. but it needs to be a little more confident because I can see the green light up there. I would have probably made that green light if I were driving. And we went a little slow, couldn't find the left lane. Anyway, what was I talking about? So here's the problem we're solving. We're solving FSD for being on the road with other humans. In reality, if all vehicles on the road were FSD, full self-driving vehicles, this wouldn't be as hard of a problem. It really becomes a much harder problem because you have to interact with erratic, irrational elements on the road, which are humans. So it would be way easier of a problem to solve if every vehicle was FSD. And I do think ultimately that's what we're going to get to. At least I think there's going to be zones where it's FSD only zones. Maybe you have downtown, for example, no human driving allowed. Just like it would be like public transportation. You can get into a robotaxi, get into a cybercab, get into a Waymo. Those are the only vehicles that are allowed to operate on city streets downtown. Or you can have your own car and you can put it in FSD mode, but you cannot control a vehicle in downtown. I think if we had that, we'd be a lot safer. And I think the vehicles would interact with one another a lot more seamlessly than having an FSD vehicle interact with a human that does absolutely ridiculous things. I mean, I do think we're at the point where FSD is driving like a human should drive. Like it's making more human decisions than humans make, if that makes sense. Like it more consistently and more often makes the right decision, or the more, and when I say right, I mean it's often the more cautious decision. But it's almost always the safer decision. And so, of course, I started this by pointing out a critical disengagement that I had. When I'm interacting with just human drivers, I would say the number of close calls are much higher than when I'm just operating on FSD. But people aren't happy with. You're not going to accept it if it's 20 times better than a human driver, but one time out of 20 it drives you straight into a brick wall. People aren't going to be happy with that. So it's got to be dang near perfect. So we're going to wind around through some of these streets here, 4 lanes, and then get up to the Impossible Hospital. So the Impossible Hospital, for people that don't know, it is the drop-off point for the hospital here in town. And it's interesting because, obviously there's always pedestrians and cars and people parking in weird spots. But the other interesting thing about it is it's super compact and there's multiple lanes that are unmarked and there's multiple areas where lanes kind of merge with one another. And if you're a human, first time driving as a human, less than average intelligent human, you will mess it up and just get confused about what lane you're supposed to be in. So it's hard for a human to solve. And it's been impossible for FSD to solve flawlessly. I mean, it gets hung up in places it shouldn't get hung up. Where a human would get hung up and then, figure it out. It's been unsolvable as of yet for FSD. And I mean, the reason that I like testing this is because this is exactly the kind of thing that you would want a cybercab to do. Drop somebody off at the hospital, exit the hospital cleanly, pick somebody up at the hospital, and it's the kind of, it's like at the airport curbside pickup where you have vehicles parked weird and exiting. And, this is the kind of thing that so far has hung up FSD. But you have to have that if you're going to have FSD interacting with humans. Now, if it's all FSD vehicles, then they all just get in a nice, neat row, and it's a beautiful, synchronized dance. But if we're going to have FSD interacting with humans, then it has to be able to solve this kind of a parking pickup drop-off spot. So we'll see how it does today. But yeah, otherwise, very impressed with this drive so far. I mean, the one word to describe it is super smooth and confident, more so than any version that I've used yet. More confident and smooth than any version I've used yet. So I would get in the right lane here right now because I can see that those two cars are turning left and I'm going to get stuck here. So it made the decision to get into the right lane, but a little later than I would have. Triggered its own warning that it was going to make contact with that truck. Okay, you're driving. It's like you warned yourself. You knew to warn yourself. By the way, I have not had to touch the wheel or do anything this drive. Attention monitoring is active. All right, so we're 1 minute away from the Impossible Hospital, and it does look red with traffic. That's great. We do want to get in the left lane here. And there's another vehicle kind of creeping up. So I would get in the left lane right now in this gap. Yep. Perfect. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to remove the waypoint once we start into the pickup drop-off point so that it'll just do a loop within that pickup drop-off. And yes, I stay very attentive during this. Do not worry. I know there are pedestrians around, like all kinds of other places we test. I am fully supervising. Nobody's getting in an accident today. Famous last words, accident, YouTube short, 1 million views. Not going to happen today. All right, we got the left green arrow. Here we go, into the Impossible Hospital. In we go. We've got one lane here. It winds around to the right. I'm going to remove the waypoint as we're going in here. All right, it comes to a stop. It should not. I'm going to give it gas. Oh, gas. All right, doesn't know where it's going. It needs to be in the left lane here. Doesn't know which lane to get into. Either one's fine. You got all these cars parked on. Yeah, herky jerky. Can't pick a lane. Still going slow. Now, I mean, we want to exit out of here, so I would be in the left lane if I were human right now. I am human. If I were human. All right, it does say I want to get in the left lane. We have a car behind us. I'm ready to take over. Person getting out right there. Now is it going to go left as this person's opening the car door? Good. Goes around him. So yeah, kind of herky-jerky around those first two. It was in the middle of two lanes. Now we got to be careful. There's a pedestrian crosswalk here. Nobody's around. We're good to proceed. Here's where it always hangs up. This is one lane that now all of a sudden becomes two. It needs to go left. Totally hangs up. Totally hangs up. All right, I'm taking over. We got to go left here, my guy. Turning it back on. Now we're in two lanes. All right, so did not work. Another fail for the Impossible Hospital. Let's see if it can get through here. This is two lanes with a pedestrian sign in the middle. Now it's just totally going over both lanes again. It wants to be in the left lane. So it wants to get behind this car here. And it's just kind of stopped. Now it is signaling to get into the left lane, but if I were behind me, I'd be really upset because I'm just blocking both lanes and people could, there's nobody behind me, but people that want to turn right, I'm totally blocking them. I'm going to take over and get out of the way because there is a guy behind me. I'm going to try to get out of the way. Yeah, so this is the problem that's created. Sammy in front of us doesn't see the problem. All right, we're trying to get out of the way. Sorry, buddy. Trying to get out of the way. Sammy, yeah. So you can see the total mess that this has created. There's a totally open right turn lane that's not being utilized because I'm blocking. Let me kind of give this guy a honk so I can move forward. Get out of the way. Yeah, total fail. Created a nightmare of a situation. Open right lane that nobody could utilize. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, total fail. Impossible Hospital not solved. Send it to Tesla. Elon, get on it. I haven't even seen him in the news. He's not busy doing anything, so get on it, Elon. Disappointing. Maybe version 13. But yeah, just not even close to being able to handle that. Not even close. Total hang up. Total hang up. I mean, you have to be an alert human and you have to have some familiarity with that area to navigate that without ruining somebody's day or getting in an accident. And it just can't do it. So that's where we're at, guys. Let's see. We're going to go for another mile down the road as I decompress from that total fail on the hospital roundabout. Any other thoughts that I've had? Well, I don't know. I had high hopes for that. I am disappointed, but the rest of the drive was fantastic. But I'm not going to be calling this cyber cab to pick me up at the hospital anytime soon. Too bad. As we go by Kinnick Stadium. And we're going to just go another half mile down the road here. So yeah, other than the hospital, really good drive. Really impressed with the highway. It feels a lot smoother. I think a lot of the stops at the stoplights and things were smoother. The lane changes felt smoother. The speed decisions were smooth. Getting onto the highway, yeah, that was the right decision. I mean, I think most people always default to trying to accelerate to get in front of whatever car is behind there, but it slowed down and got behind it. Okay, not a big deal. I'm gonna disengage here because there is a speed camera, which it noticed, but then doesn't slow down to the 25, and I don't want to get a ticket. I don't understand why they haven't fixed that yet. If you know that there's a speed camera, you alert me to a speed camera, you should automatically then never speed past the speed camera. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you got to throw a line of C++ in there. Never speed past the speed camera. Give it a few training clips of people speeding past speed cameras and label it, no, bad boy, do not speed past speed cameras. I don't want to get a ticket. All right, guys. Thanks for coming along. That's going to do it for today. We'll see you next time. Hopefully it's version 13. See you guys.